Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Alex. In today's video, you guys, we're going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Honestly, one of the worst teams in the NBA if you're not the Washington Wizards. Just really sad situation going on in Philly, especially with the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey beef that's been going on the last couple of days, or even weeks really, and just overall failure to distrust the process that they've been going on for years. So if you guys liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it.
Philadelphia 76ers, a team that is never short of drama in a given season. There is always something going on in Philly, whether it's Ben Simmons being unhappy and refusing to play while demanding a trade, to later James Harden demanding out
this dude,
of the
Ben
franchise.
Simmons, could have been so good if he just developed a jump shot. Is really
frustrated with his role in the team. Tyrese Maxey calling out Embiid for his lack of leadership and always being late to team activities. Going all in by shelling out a max contract to Paul George, and then Paul George suddenly forgetting how to play basketball. It is never a dull moment in Philly. Always some kind of drama. Always some kind of storyline. But while we can laugh and joke about the Sixers and the bizarre happenings of their franchise, the Philadelphia 76ers and how this season has started for them, a year in which they had championship aspirations after adding a veteran star in Paul George, they are now walking a fine line of not even being able to compete for a playoff spot with the deficit that they found themselves in. And dare I say it, could be on a path to tearing this whole thing down, going on a fire sale and
the Pistons are doing better though. Compared to last season, that 27-game losing streak by the Pistons last year, that was a crazy time.
The fact that they've been hit with injuries to their key players, specifically their big three of Embiid, PG, and Maxey, the Sixers situation is actually much more dire than you think, despite it being a small sample size to kick off the year, and I'll explain why. Of course, as always, be sure to subscribe if you like this type of content. It would mean a great deal to me. Now, everyone knows the history of the Philadelphia 76ers, or I should say recent history. The Sixers for years were historically bad, setting records for lowest win totals in a regular season, some of the worst net ratings in NBA history. For any team going up against the Sixers from 2013 to 2016 or so, you could almost guarantee you were going to get a win that night. While the Sixers fans lamented
those Lost City Clippers,
year after year,
CP3, Blake, and DJ
told them to
should have won a ring.
The process. Trust that there was a plan in place, a plan to be bad while getting the highest lottery picks and the best chances at landing multiple franchise players and building through the draft to get back to title contention. And even though some of us clowned the Sixers during those days, what they did kind of worked because they were able to land multiple top 3 picks. Even though some of those ended up becoming busts, they still managed to hit on one initially, being an all-star and a generational talent.
Imagine if the 76ers got Tatum,
become a superstar and one of the better players in the league, a future MVP winner, and Joel Embiid. And the Sixers were able to go from being a lottery team to consistently finishing at the top of the East with 50-plus wins year after year. But while the process worked, it really only worked to an extent, because despite the Sixers' regular season success and despite their star talent, they ultimately would never make it beyond the second round of the playoffs, and still to this day,
I know that's got to be in the back of their minds every single day when they drafted Simmons over Tatum.
Since that finals run in 2001 led by Allen Iverson. Now, going into the season, the Sixers knew they were under pressure to really make the most out of this window they were currently in, where Joel Embiid was in his prime. Embiid even hinted in interviews from time to time that he wants to win, and if he's not winning here, then he may look to find that elsewhere. And after the Sixers lost Harden, they aggressively pursued the biggest name free agent on the market in Paul George and paid him his 4-year max contract that he was coveting from the Clippers, but the Clippers didn't want to give to him. So now the Sixers had their big three again. In fact,
you guys think that the Clippers
big three than what they ever had with James
should have paid Paul George though?
His two-way ability and his size to impact the game more so.
Because I'm not completely sure about the second apron and the rules about that. But I feel like I remember them they had the money, they just didn't really pay him what he was worth, and he just
but then
went to Philadelphia because they gave him the money that he wanted. So I mean, it's just a situation where you just
start off the season until a week into it. Has more recently injured himself.
Not really needing his services anymore.
Embiid has also been out of the lineup to start the year, hasn't looked himself since coming back. And then Maxey has also been in and out of the lineup. And while injuries are part of the game,
but I wish him, Kawhi, and James honestly could have had at least another year fully healthy, just to see what they could have done before having one with them more. At least try it again.
And there are
because like the
things about this team
Brooklyn Nets situation, they could have just
explained. And number one, it starts with the locker room and the overall fit.
Tested out when the big three were healthy, but
recently took place for Tyrese Maxey,
because the big three at Brooklyn, they only played like 16 games together.
And not setting a good
so at least try it out fully season and see what happens.
Embiid, while taking accountability for that, had also voiced his frustration on his role and how it's not clear what the team is trying to do out there on offense. And I know this is purely speculation and completely just based on what I'm seeing when I watch this team on the court. They really look like they don't want to be there sometimes, almost like they don't enjoy playing together. Disengaged, low energy, poor body language, and it also, again, pure speculation, this has not been reported anywhere, looks like the team.
And I don't even know if this issue really is a Nick Nurse issue, because he was winning games in Toronto as their head coach, so I just don't know if it's really
Here's the other thing.
the organization, team chemistry, coaching. Like, I don't know where you would start if you're like the upper management of the 76ers. Like, what do you even look at?
When the three of them were out there, they did not look great together in terms of their general ball movement and flow on offense. It was very much heavy isolation basketball, slow-paced half-court play, your turn, my turn style of offense, and of course the Sixers would get killed by the Houston Rockets in that game. The Sixers, as of right now, are dead last in the league on offense. Dead last, even behind teams like the Wizards and the Jazz when it comes to their offensive rate.
The fact that they're dead last in offense, that's actually kind of surprising.
Is 27th.
That's pretty shocking.
Which also is where they rank in overall pace.
Especially because of the amount of talent that they have on this team. Like, they shouldn't be dead last in offense.
Remain at the bottom of the NBA for the whole season. They will start figuring some things out. And that big of a deficit where you're 10 games below 500, it is so incredibly hard.
Yeah, if you're 10 games below 500,
when this is a roster that
it's just so much harder to get
how they want to play,
what
their identity is, and will clearly take some time for them to identify.
Well, I mean, it is the Eastern Conference, so it's not like the West, but even still, like, it's just so much harder to find a rhythm. It really just shows you like how the season's going to turn out.
Paul George is likely going to miss more time. Maxey is still on a minutes restriction. It is going to be a steep mountain for the Sixers to climb to even find themselves back into the top 6 of the East to avoid the play-in. Because it's not like the teams at the top of the East are suddenly going to go on massive losing streaks. In fact, I would say the Sixers, even being able to get ahead of teams like the Magic or the Knicks, are out at this point. Forget about the Celtics or the Cavs. You're talking about closing out the season winning close to 90% of your games to get to their level based on the fact you've already lost 12 games this early on. But even just to get into the top 6, hell, even to get into the top 8 to avoid single.
Yeah, like, are they honestly even going to be better than teams like Orlando, for example?
A 500 team from this point.
Even Miami?
They have to win at least 57%.
At this pace, I don't think so.
39
Not this pace.
To close out the rest of the season to even just finish at 500 for the year. 500 will get you a play-in bid in the Eastern Conference, but you're not going to have a guaranteed spot in the playoffs at that rate. No, for the Sixers to really make headway, where they can actually try and secure home court advantage in the playoffs, they would need to win 65% of their games from here on out for the rest of the season. They're going 49-19 to put them on a path to contention. That would give them 51 wins on the year. 49-19 for the rest of the year to get to that mark. I don't see that happening given the current state of this team. And to be honest, I don't even know that it matters. Because even if they were able to dig themselves out of this hole, it's not like they're going to be in a position.
I think bare minimum, they can make the play-in tournament, but they lose in the play-in tournament anyways. That's honestly, I think that's my ceiling for them this season. I think it's done.
Early on in the year that they may not be able to crawl out of this. And with the limited window to win a championship with Embiid and Paul George, if the Sixers continue with this slow start, you could very well see them aborting this experiment and going on a fire sale.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be today's video. Yeah, the Sixers are cooked, man. They're not recovering this season. Better look next year. So whether it's moving on from Paul George or signing another free agent, who knows? But they're done this season. But that's it for today's video, guys. Hope you guys make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.